And this is the card we're going to be making, and I had a little bit of a teaser to have people come watch to see what the exciting thing is inside. So I open it up and ta-da! It's a pop-up. And you can see I've got pansies popped up like in a garden. And this is what we're going to be making today. A pop-up card. I almost think it should be opening this way and pulling down so that the pansies show. But what card opens at the top with the fold down at the bottom? I don't know. So this is the way I went. I got this, I watched a video by Vi Tran. And she was making that card using the the dragonfly garden, and she had dragonflies on window sheets coming up through here. But I decided I wanted to have kind of a background for my pansies, like they were poking up in the sky. So to do that, I am using some vellum. First off, I'll show you the stamp sets. This is the Pansy stamp set. We're going to be using the greeting. The little things you do make a big difference. That's on the inside of the card. And on the front of the card, I have thank you. I'm going to be sending this to a co-worker who really is very involved in the church and does lots of things for the church on a volunteer basis. And this is the pansy dies, and I'm going to be using the small leaf, this one, and I have cut out in advance, because it does take time, I have cut out some pansy leaves. And this, I decided, was the stem. So I have 5 stems here on my tray. What's really cool about this and the designer series paper that is in the suite is that one of the designs of the paper, the dies fit perfectly on, just like that. So you can cut out these pre-printed ones that have the wonderful stamp blending and coloring like that. So it fits that one, it fits this one. So there's one that fits the large dies. And there's one that fits the smaller dies like that. And I could have stamped these pansies, but what the heck, I could cut it out of the designer series paper. So that's what I did. So I cut out 2 large ones and 3 small ones. Then another small one I'm going to put in here, and a large one over here. So to start with, 2 pieces of evening evergreen that are 5.5 by 4 7/8. So there's 2 of those. We have 2 pieces of designer series paper that are 5 1/4 by 4 1/8. And then we have a piece on the front that is 5 1/4 by 4 to put on the front of the card. And this is a piece of vellum cardstock that is 5 1/4, no, just under 5 1/2 by 4. And I wanted it to look blue for the sky. On this one, it's a little hard to see the blue color because I was using the retiring seafoam spray. So I decided on this one, on the card we make now, that we would use it with, come on, open up. You almost have to have muscles to open these stamp pads when they're new. And I'm going to use blending brushes. These are really, really nice, soft brushes. Okay, where'd the other one go? I have two of them sitting right here. Oh, here it is. They're really, really soft. They're a series of really fine fibers. It feels almost like velvet. I think it would be really great to use on your face to put makeup on because it's so smooth. And they wash really easily. The dyes come out. I didn't take time to wash these today. So when you put the dye on, when you burnish it on the vellum cardstock, you have to be kind of careful to hold the cardstock down because for me it slipped a couple of times on my one I was doing, and I ended up getting wrinkles in it. And I'm going to put it on both sides so I can get a good dark sky that will show up behind the pansies. There, that looks pretty good and dark. That compared to this, see, quite a bit of difference. So this was balmy blue that I used. And then to kind of blend from the Evening Evergreen to make kind of a grass behind it, I'm using Evening Evergreen ink. And I could have used this one because the Evening Evergreen is so much darker. But I'm going to burnish this on to ground the pansies. And I'm going to do it on both sides. Make sure it's good and dark. There. Like that. Okay, so that part is ready for us to put the pansies on. I think I'll go ahead and do that right now. Do your cutting pads look as bad as mine? I use them over and over and over again. So first I'm going to glue the pansies to the stems with just a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue. Oh. And you'll notice that the pansies, there's one, let me show you, get it into the picture here. Oh, on the big one. So there's one petal down here, and up here at the top are two petals. And this is the way that pansies grow. They don't grow upside down like that with the two petals down on the bottom. Okay, so I got the three small ones. And then I'll put two big ones on. And then we'll put the leaves on. And I tried using the large leaves for the large pansies, but they were just too big. They kind of cluttered up, filled up too much of the area. There it is. And I've tried to tuck the pansy, one of the leaves behind the pansy. Oop. Don't stick to the paper. One of the things I like about these pansy dies, if you can see, they actually emboss. Can you see the embossing on the leaves? That's one of the things that Stampin' Up! Has started doing with their dies, and I love it. To get that embossing so that it gives it more dimensional. Okay. This one, this one is extra for the front of the card. Now I tried putting these on using Stampin' Dimensionals, and believe it or not, the dimensionals would not stick to the vellum for some reason, maybe because of the ink that was on there. So I'm just going to use liquid glue. Let's see, I'm going to put the one up there near the top. I'll put this one over there. And I do want these to kind of stick out, the small ones in the front, so I'm not going to put glue behind the petals. I'm just going to put it behind the flower. I'm just going to put it on the leaves. This part down here is going to be covered, so you don't have to worry about it too much. I do have to be sure that I keep the flowers within the edge of the vellum. Okay, now we'll set that part aside for now. Let those dry. The glue doesn't show up isn't too bad on the back side either, whereas the Stampin' Dimensional was a big white blotch there. Okay, so we'll go back to the 2 pieces of Evening Evergreen. I'm And we're going to score. Okay, so this is the 5. This is the 5.5. And we're going to score at 4. All right, let me think about this. We're going to score at 4 1/4 down the 5.5 length. And we get the cutting blade out of the way. So we're going to score both pieces like that. So your finished card is 5.5 by 4 1/4. So it fits into an envelope very nicely. And then we'll fold these up and use a bone folder to make them good and firm. Okay, where'd it go? There it is. So we have a good sharp crease. And the way they're going to fit together is like this. We're going to be taping them together like that with our pansies in between. See how that fits? Like that. But before we put them together, I'm going to put the designer series paper on. And these have been cut so that you put them right up to the fold. I'll put them both on the same direction. With snail. No, not snail, seal. Old habits do not die easily. So line it up like that. I have not tried the Stampin' Seal Plus, but it has little pieces that are on it instead of a continuous tape, and I'm thinking that maybe it works better than the Stampin' Seal, because with the Stampin' Seal, when you get to the end of the pulling, oftentimes you pull off an extra bit that was on there and you have to use your finger to advance the tape so you can get some more. And while we're at it, it's going to be like this. It folds down like this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the piece on the front. Actually, I think I will go ahead and just continue working on the front of it while I've got it flat. So I've got a scrap of basic white, and I'm going to stamp both of my greetings on it using the Evening Evergreen. And I'm going to get my die out. So I make sure that I stamp in the general area that I want it to be. For spacing purposes. And I'm going to use from the new Scallops and Contours dies, I'm going to use this narrow scalloped one. Bring out my trusty mini Stampin' Emboss. I really like the Stampin' Emboss. It's kind of convenient. It takes up less space, but you are limited by the width, so that this would be too wide to use. I would have to trim it down, probably cut out with the scissors, and then put it down. The other thing about this that I'm waiting for and hoping that they'll get pretty soon is a magnetic platform to hold the dies in place so that when you put them down, you know they're going to end up being where you want them when you run it through. And I could put washi tape on to hold them, but I'm going to take a chance that they'll stay put. Okay, run it through. And hallelujah, they stayed put. Now normally I would pop them up, but lately I have stopped doing that because I mail most of my cards and they get pretty thick. So I'm just going to put that on with a strip of seal. I put it over here about like this. I'm going to take the big pansy. Come on. I'm going to pop it up right there. And I will use a Stampin' Dimensional for this. A couple of them. Like that. So there's going to be the cover, the front. And then on the other piece, I will put this one. The little things you do make such a big difference. And this will be just with seal. And I need one more pansy to put on there. Let's see if I can find a scrap that is narrow enough to go through the big shot. This. Nope, I don't. So I will cut out, like I said. So let's see, what color do I want? I I think I'll take kind of orangey one. Now I could just fussy cut it, but I want to show you how nicely they fit with the dies. Okay, you can't see that. I'll lay it down here and use the small die. And this time I am going to use some washi tape. To hold it in place. Right. That way I know that it won't shift when I run it through. Gonna have to slowly peel it off because sometimes it takes off the surface of the paper. And this I'll put right there with a little bit of seal, like that. I could cut some more leaves and put them on either side of these pansies, which would be an extra cute little thing to do, but I'm not going to take the time to do that this time. Okay, so to put it together, to hold it so it's good and firm, I'm going to use sealant tape, Terran tape, not sealant tape, Terran tape. Probably could use the Stampin' Seal Plus. Actually, I'm going to lay it flat like this, and they're going to go right along. You can get 2 strips of this along this flap. Like the sound of my clock. It used to be one that you actually had to wind, and the winding mechanism went kapooey. So we took it into a store and got a new had a battery operated one put in. Still gives us the Westminster chimes, which is the part I really liked. And we don't have to worry about winding it anymore. Up. Get out, take your pick. It's a good way to get these pieces of backing up. There we go. Okay, so here's our card. And I'm going to, okay, so this is the way we want it to go, because we want this up like this. So I'm going to put this on, line it up. So that the vellum is just flush down at the bottom. It's almost flush. Might have to trim that a little bit. Okay, then we're going to take off the other part, tape off the other half. Trick is to match these up so that they match up just exactly right up against each other. And run your hands along to make it good and tight. And there's our card. So it's like that. And then when they open it up, poing, it kind of pops up. You could even stand it up like that, and the light will shine through the card. See how the light will shine through the card? So they could actually stand it on their thing and have the pansies poking up. So there you have the pop-up card. Now, one of the things I had thought about doing, because I would like to have the pansies kind of be not behind, with nothing behind them. So what I thought after I made the sample was, instead of using vellum, I would just use a piece of the hunter green, or maybe the evening evergreen, or maybe soft sage, or no, soft succulent, or perhaps even use garden green, which is part of the colors that are in here, and just kind of make a hill type thing to give the pansies some ground, so that they're not just floating in the air. But that's how you make this card. Kind of fun, not very difficult. Doesn't take a whole lot of paper. Just a little extra for the flap that's right here. And there you have it. Thank you for watching today. If you have any questions, you can email me at soggystamper.com. soggystamper.com, Sue at soggystamper.com. My blog is www.soggystamper.com. If you need any of the products I used, go to creationsbysue.stampinup.net. Yeah, I know, it's not quite the same as Soggy Stamper, but I started my store thing before I started blogging. Excuse me. And if you haven't gotten a new catalog yet, oh my goodness, you are really going to be sorry, because there's nothing better, as far as I'm concerned, than having your own copy. I had mine bound, so I can flip it over like this, but to have my own copy, so I can mark in it, because what I do is I will mark, when I first get it, I mark all the sets that I have that are in here. And so I know I have them and don't accidentally order them a second time. And then I star and mark the sets that I would like to get. And once I order them, I mark them as that I already have them. So this is my running inventory of what I have, of the current stuff. The retired things I have on shelves and stuff like that, and oftentimes I'll have to run and see, oh, do I still have that, or have I sold it? Anyway, if you don't have a catalog and you don't have a demonstrator, send me a note, or on my Facebook page, just in the little message area, click the message button and say, I would like a catalog. Here's my address. I'd also like to have your phone number so I can check to make sure that you received the catalog. Anyway, thanks for watching this today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you make one like this, send me a picture of it, and I will be happy to share it on my blog. Have a wonderful afternoon and a great weekend, and we'll see you again next Friday at 3 o'clock. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.